It happens in an instant. You wake up at 2 in the morning needing to use the bathroom. The house is dark and quiet. You swing your legs over the side of the bed, stand up perhaps a little too quickly, and take those first few steps toward the hallway. Your foot catches the edge of the bedroom rug. Your body shifts. Your arms reach out for something to grab. And in that split second, everything changes. Maybe you catch yourself this time, maybe you don't. But that moment of uncertainty, that flash of fear, stays with you longer than you'd like to admit. Here's what I need you to understand right from the start. Falls among adults over 60 are not simply accidents. They are events that can fundamentally alter the trajectory of your life. A single fall can lead to hospitalization, surgery, months of rehabilitation, loss of independence, and sometimes consequences that last years. This is serious. This matters. But here's the other side of that truth, and this is equally important. Falls are not inevitable. They are not simply the price of getting older. The vast majority of falls are preventable, and prevention starts with awareness. It starts with understanding where you stand right now, literally and figuratively. And that's exactly what we're going to do together today. I'm going to teach you a simple test that takes about 1 minute. You can do it right now in your living room, no special equipment needed, just you, a chair, and a little bit of clear floor space. This test has been used by physical therapists and healthcare professionals for years because it reveals something powerful. It shows how well your body's systems are working together to keep you safe and upright. By the time this video ends, you'll know your baseline. You'll understand what your results might mean. And most importantly, you'll have a clear plan to start improving today, not next month, not when you get around to it, today. Before we begin, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment right now telling me your age and where you're watching from. Whether you're in Texas or Maine, California or Florida, I want to know who's part of this community. Your comment helps others feel less alone in this journey. Now let me walk you through exactly what this test involves before we do it together. This assessment is often called the stand, walk, turn, and sit test. Some healthcare providers know it as a variation of the timed up and go test. Whatever you call it, the concept is beautifully simple. You start seated in a sturdy chair. When the timer begins, you stand up, walk about 10 feet forward, turn around safely, walk back to the chair, and sit down with control. The timer stops when you're fully seated again. That's it. One continuous movement. About 60 seconds or less for most people. But don't let the simplicity fool you. This brief test captures an enormous amount of information about how your body functions. It reveals your leg strength when you push up from sitting. It shows your walking stability and rhythm. It tests your ability to turn safely without losing balance. And it measures your control when lowering yourself back into the chair. Every part of this test mirrors movements you make dozens of times every single day. Standing from the couch, walking to the kitchen, turning to grab something from the counter, sitting down for dinner. These are the movements of real life. And this test shows you how well you're performing them. Before we go any further, I need to share some important safety information. Please don't skip this part. This video is for educational purposes only. I'm not your doctor, and this is not medical advice. If you have significant balance problems, a history of recent falls, or any condition that affects your mobility, please consult with your physician or physical therapist before attempting this test. When you do the test, set yourself up for safety. Position yourself near a sturdy counter or heavy piece of furniture that won't move if you need to reach for it. Clear the floor completely. Remove throw rugs, pet toys, shoes, anything that could trip you. Make sure the path you'll walk is free of obstacles. Wear supportive shoes with good grip. Sneakers work well. If you prefer to go barefoot, that's fine as long as your floor isn't slippery. Whatever you do, please don't wear slick socks on hard floors. That's asking for trouble. If at any point during this test you feel dizzy, unsafe, or in pain, stop immediately. There's no prize for pushing through discomfort. And if you experience chest pain, fainting, or severe shortness of breath, stop the test and call 911. Your safety comes first, always. Let me explain how to set up your testing space. You'll need a chair without wheels. A dining chair or kitchen chair works perfectly. Avoid soft armchairs or recliners because they're harder to stand from and sit into with control. For your walking distance, you need about 10 feet of clear space in front of the chair. That's roughly 3 meters. If you're not sure how to measure, here's an easy trick. Most people's normal stride is about 2 feet long, so roughly 5 normal steps forward from your chair is close to 10 feet, or use a doorway as a reference point. The width of most interior doors is about 3 feet, so imagine laying down 3.5 doors end to end. You'll also need something to time yourself. The stopwatch on your phone works perfectly, or have someone else time you if that's easier. One more thing before we begin. If you normally use a cane or walker, use it during this test. We want to see how you function in real life, not in some artificial scenario. Just note that you used an assistive device because it's relevant to understanding your results. If you have knee pain or feel nervous about balance, you can modify the test. Have someone stand nearby for reassurance. Position yourself along a hallway where walls are within reach. Reduce the walking distance slightly if needed. The goal is to challenge yourself safely, not to take unnecessary risks. Are you ready to do this together? If you need another moment to set up your space, pause the video now. Get your chair in position. Clear your path. Have your timer ready. I'll be here when you come back. Okay. I'm going to assume you're set up and ready. You're sitting in your chair. Your back is against the backrest. Your feet are flat on the floor, about hip width apart. Your hands are resting on your thighs or on the armrests. The path ahead of you is clear. Your timer is ready. Take a slow breath in. Release it. Relax your shoulders. Remember, this is not a race. Walk at your normal, comfortable pace. Turn around carefully when you reach your mark, and sit down with control at the end. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Stand up from the chair now. Walk forward at your regular pace toward your 10-foot mark. Keep your eyes looking ahead, not down at your feet. When you reach your mark, turn around slowly and carefully. Now walk back toward your chair at that same comfortable pace. When you arrive at the chair, turn and lower yourself into the seat with control. Stop your timer when you're fully seated. Well done. Take a moment to catch your breath. Note your time somewhere you'll remember it. If you want a more accurate reading, you can do the test again in a minute or two and take the average of both attempts. Testing twice often gives you a clearer picture. Now, I want to address something important: common mistakes people make during this test. Being aware of these helps you get a more accurate result and also shows you what to work on. The first mistake is turning too quickly. When you spin around fast, you challenge your balance system in a way that can cause wobbling or dizziness. A controlled, deliberate turn is what we're looking for. The second mistake is using momentum instead of strength to stand up. If you're rocking forward and back to build momentum, or throwing your upper body forward to get up, that tells us something about leg strength. It works, but it's not as controlled or safe. The third mistake is looking down at your feet the whole time. I understand the urge to watch where you're stepping, but keeping your head down actually makes balance harder. It shifts your center of gravity forward and reduces your stability. The fourth mistake is holding your breath during the test. Many people do this without realizing it. Holding your breath increases tension and can affect your blood pressure and steadiness. Breathe naturally throughout. The fifth mistake is dropping into the chair at the end rather than sitting with control. After the walking and turning, it's tempting to just let gravity take over. But that collapse into the chair represents a loss of control, exactly the kind of thing that leads to falls in real life. Now let's talk about what your time might suggest. And I want to be very clear here. This is not a diagnosis. These are general ranges based on clinical research, but every person is different. Your specific health history matters. Use this as information, not as a verdict. If you completed the test in under about 10 seconds, that generally indicates strong mobility for most older adults. Your systems are working together well. This doesn't mean you should stop being proactive about fall prevention, but it does suggest you have a good foundation to build on. If your time was between 10 and 14 seconds, think of this as a borderline zone. You're functional and getting around, but there may be room to build a bigger safety margin. Targeted exercises could make a meaningful difference in your stability and confidence. If your time was 14 seconds or more, or if you needed significant help to complete the test, this suggests higher caution is warranted. Consider scheduling time with a physical therapist who can do a more comprehensive evaluation and create a personalized plan. Beyond the time itself, there are 3 red flags that matter regardless of your score. First, significant wobbling during any part of the test, especially during the turn. Second, needing to grab furniture or reach for walls to steady yourself. Third, any dizziness or feeling unsafe during the test. If any of these occurred, please take that seriously. It's worth a conversation with a healthcare provider. I'd love for you to share your results with this community. Comment below with your time and whether you used a cane or walker. Your experience might help someone else feel less alone in their own numbers. There's no judgment here. We're all starting from wherever we are. Now let me explain why this simple test reveals so much about fall risk. When you stand up from a chair, you're testing leg strength. Specifically, you're using your quadriceps, the large muscles in the front of your thighs, along with your glutes and core. If rising from seated is slow or requires momentum, that points to strength that could be improved. When you walk, you're testing gait stability. Each step requires a moment of single leg balance. Your nervous system makes countless tiny adjustments to keep you upright. Your proprioception, which simply means your body's sense of where it is in space, works constantly during walking. When you turn around, you're testing coordination and your vestibular system. That's your inner ear balance mechanism. Turns require your brain to integrate information from your eyes, inner ears, and body position sensors simultaneously. This is often where hidden balance problems show up. When you sit down with control, you're testing eccentric strength. That means your muscles are controlling a lowering movement against gravity. This is actually harder than standing up. When people plop into chairs, it's often because this eccentric control has weakened. So this 60-second test is really a window into multiple body systems working together. Leg strength, balance, coordination, reaction time, vestibular function, all of it. And here's the encouraging truth. Every one of these systems responds to training. Your muscles can get stronger at any age. Your balance can improve with practice. Your vestibular system can be retrained. The body wants to adapt when given the right stimulus. This brings me to the action plan I promised you. For the next several weeks, I want you to commit to 15 to 20 minutes of targeted exercise, 3 to 4 days per week. Not daily. Your body needs recovery time, but consistently, several times each week. Here are 5 exercises that directly improve the abilities measured by this test. Exercise 1 is controlled sit to stand. This builds leg strength and the control needed for standing and sitting. Start seated in your sturdy chair. Stand up slowly without using your hands. Then sit back down as slowly as you can, taking 3 to 5 seconds to lower yourself. That's 1 repetition. Start with 5 and work toward 10 or 15. For an easier version, use your hands on the armrests to assist. For a harder version, hold something light against your chest or slow down the sitting portion even more. Exercise 2 is side leg lifts for hip stability. Stand behind a chair with your hands resting lightly on the back. Lift one leg out to the side, keeping it straight, then lower it back down with control. Repeat 10 times on each side. For an easier version, keep your hands firmly on the chair throughout. For a harder version, barely touch the chair and add a brief pause at the top of each lift. Exercise 3 is heel to toe balance. Stand near a counter for safety. Place one foot directly in front of the other so the heel of your front foot touches the toes of your back foot. Hold this position for 15 to 30 seconds, then switch which foot is in front. For an easier version, leave a small gap between your feet and keep one hand on the counter. For a harder version, try it without holding on, or close your eyes briefly while holding position. Exercise 4 is slow marching with pause. Stand tall with one hand on a counter if needed. Lift one knee up toward your chest slowly. Pause for 2 to 3 seconds at the top, then lower it slowly. Alternate legs for 10 repetitions each side. For an easier version, don't pause and keep both hands on the counter. For a harder version, lift the knee higher and extend the pause to 5 seconds. Exercise 5 is weight shifts with gentle head turns. Stand with feet hip-width apart, one hand on a counter for security. Shift your weight onto your right foot, and as you do, slowly turn your head to look over your right shoulder. Hold for 2 seconds. Return to center. Repeat on the left side. This trains your vestibular system to maintain balance while your head moves. For an easier version, keep both hands on the counter and make smaller head movements. For a harder version, lift your hands away from the counter and make larger, slower head turns. Do these 5 exercises 3 to 4 times weekly. After 2 weeks, repeat the stand, walk, turn test. Compare your new time to your baseline. Track your progress over time. Most people who commit to this kind of targeted practice see genuine improvement. We're nearing the end of our time together, and I have one more question for you. Which part of the test was hardest for you? Was it standing up from the chair, walking steadily, the turn, or sitting back down with control? Your answer tells you where to focus your training energy. Share it in the comments below. If this video helped you today, if it gave you something concrete and practical you can use, I would be grateful if you'd tap the like button. It helps this information reach more people who might benefit from it. And if you'd like more content designed specifically for adults over 60 who want to stay strong and independent, consider subscribing to this channel. We're building something meaningful here. Let me leave you with this final thought. Falls are not just things that happen to older people. They are not random misfortunes you simply have to accept. Falls happen when we don't know where our weaknesses are. They happen when we stop challenging our bodies. They happen when we don't prepare. But you are preparing right now. By watching this video, by doing that test, by learning what to work on, you're taking your safety and independence into your own hands. Your body is more capable than you might realize. Your strength can grow. Your balance can sharpen. Your confidence can rebuild. But only if you practice. Only if you show up for yourself a few times each week. You have the test. You have the exercises. You have the plan. Everything you need to start is already available to you. So start today. Your future self is counting on it.